Who are you?
In today's video, we are going to discuss and take a look at Jason Voorhees' guest appearance in the long-running Mortal Kombat video game series. Before we begin, I just want to warn you that I'll be talking about a mature-rated video game that contains blood, gore, and intense violence. I'll be showing off some footage from the game that is brutal, to say the least. But if you are watching this video, I am assuming that you love horror films and or Jason and the Friday the 13th series, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Anyone else? You've been warned. Mortal Kombat X was released in April 2015 for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. As with any fighting game these days, there were 2 downloadable content packs that added more fighters to the mix. The first Combat Pack featured none other than Jason Voorhees himself. Before we dive into the way that Jason appears in Mortal Kombat X, let's take a look at the bio the developers created for him.
Death and revenge make up the very core of Jason Voorhees' being. He died as a young boy, his mother killed out of grief and rage. When she was murdered, Jason returned and avenged her. Many times since, the living have tried to send him back to the realm of the dead. He's been stabbed, drowned, electrocuted, hurled into space, but Jason cannot be killed, cannot be stopped.
So I must say it was a nice touch that they included space in his bio. They could have said that he was sent to hell, but hell couldn't hold him or something like that. But the space line is still fun and is obviously a nice wink to those of us who are familiar with Jason X. I honestly feel like Jason's attire in the game is a cross between his look in Freddy vs. Jason and the 2009 Friday the 13th film. What I mean by that is his outfit resembles the one from Freddy vs. Jason, the jacket, the blue and gray shirts underneath the jacket, the gloves, and even the pants and boots. However, the tone of his flesh, the shape of his head, and even his hockey mask resemble more of how he looked in the 2009 Friday the 13th. In this particular version of Mortal Kombat, every fighter has 3 variations to choose from after you pick your character. The slasher variation of Jason has him holding his iconic machete the entire time. If you look closely, even the shape of his machete resembles that of the machete from Freddy vs. Jason. The unstoppable variation has Jason wearing the chain piece around his neck, which Jason wore throughout the duration of Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. I really thought this was a nice little touch to add to the character. The final variation is called Relentless. This variation of Jason only changes the color of his mask. For some reason, they decided to just make his mask more dark. If they had no other ideas of what to do other than make his mask dark, I think it would have been really cool to have this variation wear the sack mask from either Friday the 13th Part 2 or the 2009 Friday the 13th. Either would have looked badass. I am personally not hugely impressed with how Jason looks in this game, but it is what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if they were somehow tied down in some way with gaining the rights and could only do so much with him, but who knows. There is a fun thing that happens though if you were to put Jason against himself.
Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees.
The second Jason's costume will appear in a completely different color, but his mask will appear with blue chevrons instead of red. He is essentially Roy Burns, the imposter Jason from Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I flipped out a little when I saw this for myself. It's really a nice touch that the developers did this. Not many people will even understand the significance of the blue chevrons, but we Friday the 13th fans get it, and it's great that they did that for us. In MKX, each character gets 2 possible intros to a match. Which one you'll see depends on which side of the stage the game randomly decides to start with. For Jason, if the game decides to start with him, he walks into the stage dragging a dead woman by her hair. At the same time, the iconic can be heard. Oh, and the dead woman also has Jason's machete firmly planted in her head. He eventually stops and drops the woman to the ground, then reaches down to remove his machete. If the intro were to begin with whoever Jason is fighting, Jason enters the stage with a knife planted in his neck. After the other fighter gets their spotlight for a second, the camera will cut to Jason. He will remove the knife from his neck and toss it to the ground. The other neat addition to fight intros in MKX is the aspect that each character in the game will say different lines of dialogue depending on who they are fighting. Each character can have 2 different things they could say to every other character in the game. Obviously, Jason does not speak, but what about all the Mortal Kombat characters that do? Well, I took the time to have Jason fight against every character in the game and listen to both possible things they would say to him. Instead of showing all of them to you, I picked my favorite lines and put them in a quick little compilation.
Who are you?
You amuse me. Jason Voorhees. Who are you?
Oh, freak.
You no scare we. Torsay, you bad man.
Don't get any blood on me.
Back to hell with you.
Gonna be that kind of day, huh?
I owe you money or something?
You've claimed your last victim.
Mental defective. A simple weapon for a simple man.
I think it's really cool as some characters in the game seem to know who Jason is, somehow, and others have no clue who he is. As with any character in the game, Jason has basic moves that can be performed across all variations of his character, such as the backbreaker, the tight squeeze, the choke, and the special ability, Killing Machine, which provides protection against attacks, but Jason cannot jump when it's activated. Also, when it finishes, Jason is stunned for a second and it leaves him open for attack, so it's best to use wisely. Each variation brings special abilities or attacks that can't be performed when using one of the other variations. In the slasher variation, a lot of Jason's attacks are focused on his machete, since Jason is holding his trusty machete the entire time. He even has a projectile attack where he tosses his machete at his opponent. In the relentless variation, Jason can perform a teleport called Lake Mist, where he walks into a cloud of mist and appears behind his opponent. He also has a special ability called Pursuit, which causes the screen to turn red and the opponent's input gets reversed. The relentless variation has the ability to increase Jason's damage after he reaches 50% health. This is something that doesn't have to be activated by the player. In Jason's unstoppable variation, he has several special abilities. The ability Punishment causes the chain around Jason's neck to glow green and his damage is increased by 33%. Taking the spot of the Killing Machine ability in his unstoppable variation is the ability Rise, which causes his hockey mask to glow white and allow Jason to temporarily heal over time. He also passively generates Super Meter when this is active. Something else that doesn't need to be activated by the player is the ability Resurrection. When Jason loses all of his health, he'll be thrown to the ground, lightning will strike his body and cause him to gain a small amount of health and continue the fight. This is very cool as when he sits up, a music cue plays that really gives you that Friday the 13th vibe. When it comes to performing combos, I am not good at them at all. I mean, I can do small ones, but nothing crazy. I'm not going to lie to you, so for the sake of this video, here is a minute-long compilation of ridiculous Jason combos performed by YouTuber Check4900. Thank you, Check4900, the king of combos, for that gameplay. An X-ray is a special move of sorts that every character can perform after a meter on the screen has been filled. During the course of an X-ray, the camera will show inside the body of whom the X-ray is being performed on, showing bones breaking and organs being punctured. Instead of trying to describe Jason's X-ray, I really think it would be best to just show it to you and allow it to speak for itself. Pretty brutal stuff. Just like any other Mortal Kombat game, after you win a match, you can perform a fatality on your opponent. For those of you who don't know, a fatality basically kills off your opponent in grisly fashion. In MKX, every character has 2 fatalities they can perform. Jason's first fatality is called Kill for Mother, and it goes like this.
Jason wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
I really like this fatality and think it's my favorite of the 2 Jason has. I love how Jason raises his machete and the opponent looks up in horror. The music cue sounds very reminiscent of Harry Manfredini's scores from the 80s Friday the 13th films. Although Jason has never killed anyone like this in a Friday the 13th film, the kill seems like something Jason would do, and it would be great if maybe, just maybe, in a future Friday the 13th film, they added this particular kill as a neat little nod to the Mortal Kombat players. Jason's second fatality is called Sleeping Bag Killer.
Jason wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
I am not a big fan of this fatality, mainly because it's called Sleeping Bag Killer and there is no sleeping bag in the fatality. When I first saw the title of this fatality, I was excited to see Jason wrap his opponent in a sleeping bag and bash them against a tree or the ground. I personally think they should have named it something else. You know what would have been a really cool idea? If one of Jason's fatalities replicated that of the head crush kill in Friday the 13th Part 3. Jason could grab his opponent and have them face toward the camera, place both of his hands on either side of their head, and slowly crush their head until one of their eyeballs popped out and flew at the camera. In MKX, they could have added the touch of having the eyeball hit the camera lens and run down the screen as the announcer says,
Jason wins. Fatality.
Just an idea. In MKX, Brutalities make a return. Brutalities haven't been seen in a Mortal Kombat game since Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which was released in 1996. Unless you count Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks from 2005, but that was an offshoot story-based game and not your typical Mortal Kombat. Brutalities work differently in MKX. The traditional brutality was essentially a long combo that would result in your opponent exploding into a burst of blood, bones, and limbs that would cover most of the screen. In MKX, a brutality is essentially a special attack that you can finish the match with and kill your opponent outright, bypassing the classic finish him or her spot you would normally get when you beat your opponent. Each character in MKX has 5 brutalities they can perform. Here is a quick little compilation of every brutality Jason can perform in the game.
Brutality. Jason wins. Brutality. Jason wins. Brutality. Jason wins. Brutality. Jason wins. Flawless victory. Brutality. Jason wins.
I think my favorite of the bunch would have to be the one where Jason stabs his opponent with his machete and then pulls it up, cutting them down the middle straight up through their head. This reminds me of the kill from Jason Goes to Hell, where the girl is impaled with a pole and violently ripped in half as it's pulled upward. I'm sure this had to be a little bit of an inspiration for them creating this brutality. Jason's win screen is pretty interesting as well. What I'm talking about is the short cinematic that plays if Jason wins the match, but without finishing a fatality or anything else. Jason turns around and walks away from his opponent and the camera. As he does so, he removes his hockey mask and tosses it to the ground. The camera cuts to the mask landing on the ground. As the Jason wins text appears on screen and is said from the announcer, the shot stays on his hockey mask. Although I do think this is a cool shot of his mask laying on the ground, I really don't understand why Jason would remove his mask like this. Perhaps I'm reading into it too much, but it's just weird to me. I'm curious how the developers came up with this and what other ideas they had before landing on this one. As with any Mortal Kombat game, if you were to pick a character and take them to the traditional tower and beat it, you would get a cinematic ending for them. Each character has their own ending as if they were to have won that Mortal Kombat tournament. Obviously, the main storyline for each MK game only follows one particular character winning the tournament, but it's always fun seeing each character's ending. So, what would happen if you selected Jason and took him all the way to Shinnok and won? Well, they created an ending for him and it goes like this.
Like Scorpion, Jason Voorhees was a revenant. A vengeful spirit returned to life. Hundreds had fallen victim to his bloodlust. Liu Kang, now ruler of the NetherRealm, took notice. An immortal killer like Jason would be useful in his plans for conquest. He drew Jason into the NetherRealm and offered him an endless bounty of slaughter in return for his allegiance. Jason's simple reply was to destroy Liu Kang.
I really like this ending for two main reasons. One, I love that they kept Jason as a badass and didn't have him bow to anyone or join forces with one of the bad guys or something. And two, I especially love that Jason kills Liu Kang. Liu Kang is by far my least favorite character in the Mortal Kombat series. So seeing my favorite horror movie slasher killing my least favorite Mortal Kombat character is just icing on the cake. And also, look at that kill. He's strangling Liu Kang with his own intestines. awesome. I know Mortal Kombat X came out many years ago, but I really thought it would be fun to not only discuss Jason's appearance in the game, but also compile footage of him in the game for historical purposes. As newer generations of video game consoles are released, older video games are usually lost or forgotten about. This video will always be here for us to enjoy the bloody stamp that Jason left on Mortal Kombat. Although I'm not hugely impressed with the way Jason looks in the game, I think his appearance kinda grew on me over time. NetherRealm put a lot of work into Jason's attacks, his special abilities, and even adding music cues when Jason does certain actions, something that even long-running Mortal Kombat characters don't have. My only complaint about Jason being in Mortal Kombat X is the fact that he wasn't added to Mortal Kombat 9 instead. What I mean by this is that Freddy Krueger was a guest character in MK9, and then Jason in MKX. Would have been really awesome to have fights between Freddy and Jason. Seeing them kick the crap out of each other and perform fatalities would have been really fun. I think NetherRealm realized this mistake, and that is why they added Predator and Alien as guest characters in MKX, and in MK11 they added the Terminator and RoboCop as guest characters. So you can have all of those matchups, but not Freddy and Jason. Such a shame. In the second combat pack for MKX, our good friend Leatherface was added to the game. I am sure that not many are aware of this, but Jason Voorhees and Leatherface do have some history together. There was a 3-issue comic series published by Topps Comics in 1995 titled Jason vs. Leatherface. So although we can't have Jason go up against Freddy, we can see him go up against Leatherface. And we all know who would win in that battle.
Finish him! Jason wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
NetherRealm Studios did a great job bringing Jason Voorhees to the world of Mortal Kombat. To be completely honest with you, I think NetherRealm should seriously consider making a fighting game that exclusively features horror movie characters. Imagine a Mortal Kombat quality level game, but with fighters like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Leatherface, Pinhead, Ash, Candyman, Art the Clown, the list goes on. I know it would be a licensing nightmare, but if they could figure it all out, it would be wild and would definitely get people talking. I know I, for one, would pre-order it immediately. Think about it, NetherRealm, and be sure to thank the Har next door if you do. As mentioned before, Leatherface, the chainsaw-wielding maniac from Texas, also made an appearance in MKX. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to not miss out, as soon we'll be exploring all the macabre Bubba and his chainsaw brought to Mortal Kombat. So what do you think of Jason in Mortal Kombat X? Do you think NetherRealm did him justice? If you have played MKX, what were some of your favorite things about using Jason? If you have never played MKX and are witnessing all of this for the first time, what do you think of Jason appearing in this game? Let us know in the comments. If you've made it this far, don't forget to slash that like button. Until next time,